All right, let's dive into a place that I think a lot of our listeners are going to find pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Judge C.R. Magney State Park in Minnesota.
Okay.
From what I've been reading about it, it's got incredible beauty, especially waterfalls,
Right.
and kind of a little geological mystery as well.
Yeah. It's a really cool place.
Yeah. So we're going to try to paint a picture of this park using all kinds of sources. We've got articles about hiking there and the history of the park. We've got excerpts from travel guides and even a little bit of Wikipedia in there as well.
Okay, cool.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll know whether Judge C.R. Magney State Park is for you.
Right.
And if you do decide to go, you'll know exactly what to expect.
So one thing you definitely cannot miss if you go to this park is the Devil's Kettle.
Okay.
It's really what makes this park so unique and intriguing.
Wow.
It's this waterfall where the Brewer River splits into one side, tumbles down into this pool of water like a normal waterfall, but the other side, the water just vanishes into a giant hole.
Like a pothole.
Yeah, just like a pothole in the rock.
Wow. I can already picture myself standing there completely mesmerized by this waterfall.
Yeah.
And I bet I wouldn't be the only one trying to figure out where that water goes.
Right.
I read that people have been trying to solve this mystery for years, tossing all kinds of things into that kettle to see if they reappear.
Oh.
Like sticks, ping pong balls, even GPS trackers.
Yeah, it's really captured people's imagination.
I can see why. It's like a natural puzzle.
Right.
So what are some of the theories about where this vanishing water ends up?
Well, some folks thought the water flowed through underground channels to Lake Superior, which is nearby.
Okay.
Others imagined it connecting to a whole different watershed.
Wow.
Ending up miles away.
So for a long time, it was a real enigma.
A true mystery, yeah.
Okay, so spill the beans. What does modern science say about this vanishing act?
Well, hydrologists have actually done some pretty cool research.
Okay.
They've measured the water flow above and below the Devil's Kettle.
Okay.
Turns out the amount of water going in is pretty much the same as the amount coming out further down the river.
Oh, interesting.
So it seems the water does eventually rejoin the Brewer River, just not in a way that's visible.
Oh, so maybe it flows into a rock formation or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So mystery solves then.
Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
Science has provided us with a plausible explanation. But the exact path the water takes beneath the rocks remains unknown.
So there's still an element of mystery.
Absolutely. I mean, it makes you realize how much we still don't know about the world beneath our feet.
I like that.
The power of nature.
Now, I'm picturing all our listeners rushing to book a trip to Minnesota.
I hope so.
I'll see this Devil's Kettle.
Yeah.
But getting there, that involves a hike, right?
It does. And it's not just any hike. This one's known to be pretty strenuous.
Really? What are we talking about here?
2 miles round trip with almost 200 stairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you'll definitely feel the burn in those legs.
Okay. So it's a challenge, but I bet the views are incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you're looking at those waterfalls.
Yeah, the views of the Brewer River Gorge are breathtaking.
So worth every step then.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the sources talked about the high reward to effort ratio.
Okay.
So you put in a little work, but you get a lot of amazing scenery in return.
I like that.
Plus, the park offers options for different hiking levels.
Oh, okay. Good.
So if you're not up for that stairway of doom,
Right.
you can always opt for something more leisurely.
Like what?
Well, there's the Timberdoodle Trail. It's a nice 1-mile loop.
Okay.
Perfect for a relaxed stroll.
And what if you're the kind of person who wants more of a challenge?
Oh, then you've got to check out the Gothier Creek Trail.
Okay.
It connects to the Superior Hiking Trail. So you can really go all out with a multi-day trek.
So they've got options for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Whether you're a casual visitor or a seasoned hiker, this park has got you covered.
Now, after a day of exploring those trails, wouldn't it be great to just settle in for the night right in the heart of the park?
Right there.
And it turns out you can, because Judge C.R. Magney has a 27-site campground.
That's right.
And all the sources describe it as being super cozy and rustic, a true escape into nature.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that escape comes with a little bit of planning.
It does, especially if you're going during peak season.
Okay.
Those reservations are essential.
Okay, so book ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, when we say rustic, we're not talking about glamping, are we?
No hot tubs or Wi-Fi here.
Okay.
It's all about embracing that simpler way of life, connecting with nature on its own terms.
So what kind of amenities can we expect?
Well, you'll have a bathhouse with showers.
Okay.
Firewood's available. but there are no electrical hookups.
So it's really about unplugging and unwinding. Now, I have to admit, I was a little intrigued by something I read about the campground's location. Apparently, it sits on a delta.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool reminder of the area's past.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the landscape we see today has been shaped by centuries of changing lake levels and shifting rivers.
Yeah.
So this delta is like a tangible piece of that history.
Okay, so this park is more than just waterfalls and hiking trails.
Right.
It's a place where the past is woven into the present.
Absolutely.
And speaking of the past, this park has a fascinating history that goes beyond those shifting rivers.
Definitely.
I mean, we're talking about lumber booms, the rise and fall of grand resorts, even a transient work camp during the Depression.
It's a layered history.
Yeah, this is sounding less like a nature escape and more like a history book coming to life.
It's a blend of both, really.
So what about these grand resorts? Can you tell me more about that?
Well, imagine hiking through the woods and stumbling upon concrete foundations.
Yeah.
Those are remnants of that work camp, a tangible link to a bygone era.
So we've got mystery, we've got history,
Right.
and we've got hints of something grand and lost in the woods.
Yeah, it's quite a place.
So what else can we expect to find in Judge C.R. Magney State Park?
Well, let's not forget about the main attraction, nature itself.
Right.
This park boasts an incredibly diverse ecosystem.
Okay.
You know, thanks in part to those changes in elevation we've been talking about.
Yeah.
You'll find the Laurentian mixed forest.
Okay.
It's a beautiful blend of towering conifers and broadleaf trees.
Okay, paint me a picture here.
Well, imagine majestic white pines reaching for the sky,
Wow.
alongside these stately maples and paper birches with their distinctive white bark.
It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's a mix that changes with the seasons, too,
I bet.
offering like vibrant greens and fiery autumn hues.
I can already see myself snapping photos of those fall colors.
Yeah.
What about wildflowers? Any standout blooms?
Well, the sources mention a variety of wildflowers adding splashes of color, but they didn't go into specifics. I guess it really depends on the time of year.
That makes sense.
But I'm sure you'd find a vibrant display.
And I bet those wildflowers attract all sorts of interesting creatures.
You're right, the park is home to a variety of wildlife.
Okay, like what?
Well, you've got your white-tailed deer, which are pretty common. And if you're lucky, you might even catch a glimpse of a moose.
Oh, wow.
Or even a black bear.
Oh, wow. A black bear.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick to admiring those from a distance.
Probably a good idea.
So we've got majestic forests, colorful wildflowers, the potential for some exciting wildlife encounters,
Right.
and those mesmerizing waterfalls.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that makes this park's ecosystem stand out? What about the Brewer River itself?
Well, the Brewer River is more than just a backdrop for the waterfalls.
Okay.
It's a vital habitat for fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, rainbow trout and salmon make their spawning runs here.
Oh, wow. So it's a paradise for fishing enthusiasts as well.
Absolutely. It's really a place where you can immerse yourself in nature, challenge yourself physically,
Yeah.
and even reconnect with history all in one place.
We've covered a lot of ground already in this deep dive into Judge C.R. Magney State Park.
We have.
From vanishing waterfalls and challenging hikes
Yeah.
to the echoes of the past and a diverse ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's really shaping up to be a hidden gem.
It really is.
I mean, what fascinates me is how this park blends natural wonder with human history.
Yeah.
It's a place where you can be awed by nature while also reflecting on the impact we humans have had.
It's a unique combination.
I'm definitely getting the sense that this is more than just a park. It's an experience.
Yeah, it really is an experience.
What makes it even more intriguing is this idea of disconnecting.
Oh, yeah.
Our sources mentioned limited cell service.
Right.
It's almost like this place is inviting you to unplug and just be present,
Absolutely.
to let yourself be fully absorbed by the sights, the sounds, the smells of the wilderness.
It's a challenge in today's world,
Yeah, it is.
but so worth it.
I'm starting to think so.
You know, to be able to just be in the moment without distractions.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea.
It is. And, you know, this park seems to offer that opportunity.
Okay, so before we all book our flights to Minnesota, let's get a little practical here.
Okay.
In the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore some of the challenges you might encounter at Judge C.R. Magney, and we'll offer some tips for planning your visit.
Sounds good.
Stay with us, folks, because we're just getting started.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Judge C.R. Magney State Park.
Yeah.
You know, before we went off, we were talking about disconnecting from that digital world,
Right?
really immersing ourselves in nature.
It's appealing.
Yeah. And it seems like this park is kind of offering a chance to do just that.
It is. It's like hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
You know, to just be present in the moment.
I'm up for the challenge.
Good.
But let's talk about how to prepare for it.
Okay.
We've discussed the Devil's Kettle hike and how challenging it can be
Right.
with all those stairs leading down to the falls.
Yeah.
But are there any other potential obstacles that visitors should be aware of?
Well, one thing that came up in the sources is the possibility of trail closures,
Oh.
especially because of flood damage.
Oh, right. Yeah. This region can get some pretty heavy rainfall.
It can.
So those trails aren't immune to the effects.
Not at all.
So it's always a good idea to check the park's website before you go.
Yeah, definitely look for any alerts or updates.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything else we should be prepared for?
Well, if you're planning a winter visit,
Yeah.
be ready for some icy conditions.
Oh, right. Especially on those stairs.
Yeah, the stairs leading down to the Devil's Kettle can get pretty treacherous.
So proper footwear is essential.
Absolutely year-round, but especially in winter.
Okay, so sturdy hiking boots are a must.
Definitely.
And maybe even some traction devices for those icy patches.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, it's a good reminder that this is a wilderness area,
It is.
not a theme park.
Yeah.
So we need to respect the power of nature and be prepared.
Absolutely.
Speaking of respecting nature, I'm curious about the campground.
Okay.
We mentioned it's cozy,
Mm-hmm.
but one source did point out that the sites can be quite close together.
Right.
So were we talking about a party atmosphere or more of a tranquil escape?
Definitely more tranquil.
Okay.
It's not the kind of campground where people are blasting music all night.
Right.
It's more about enjoying the sounds of the forest, the quiet murmur of the river.
Okay, so maybe sharing stories around a campfire with fellow nature lovers.
Exactly.
Sounds peaceful.
Yeah,
So probably not the best spot for those who like to party into the night.
probably not.
But for those seeking a place to truly unwind and disconnect,
Yeah,
this campground seems ideal,
I think so.
especially with those waterfalls so close.
Right there, just a short walk away.
Okay, let's circle back to the park's history for a second.
Sure.
We talked about those remnants of a transient work camp from the Depression.
Right. A reminder of tougher times.
Yeah. But there was also mention of a grand resort.
Oh, yeah, the Nanabuju Club.
Yeah, that seems a bit out of place in this rugged wilderness.
It does, doesn't it?
So tell me more about it.
Well, back in the Roaring 20s,
Okay.
a group of entrepreneurs had this dream
Okay.
of creating this luxurious lakeside retreat.
Wow. So they envisioned a sprawling complex with a grand lodge cabins, tennis courts, even a golf course.
It was going to be quite the place.
Sounds like something out of The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
Did they ever pull it off?
Well, they completed the lodge in 1929,
Okay.
but then the stock market crashed,
Oh, no.
and the Great Depression put a stop to their ambitious plans.
So what happened to the lodge? Did it just crumble into ruin?
Not exactly. It still stands today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's privately owned and operates as a historic hotel.
Wow. So you can actually stay in a piece of history?
You can. It's right across from the park entrance.
Huh. So you can incorporate a stay there into your visit.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
It's a unique contrast.
Yeah, you've got the grandeur of the Roaring Twenties and then the rugged wilderness of the park.
Yeah, it's like stepping back in time
It really is.
and then stepping into nature.
We've got the geological history,
Right.
the stories, the failed luxury resort, the echoes of that Depression-era work camp,
Yeah.
and then the present-day park that we're exploring.
It's quite a tapestry.
It is, and it highlights that idea we touched on earlier,
Yeah.
the interconnectedness of nature and human history.
We often think of these wilderness areas as untouched, but they've often been shaped by us, by human activities.
Yeah, sometimes in unexpected ways.
And it's a reminder that we're part of that ongoing story.
That's a good point.
You know, even our small choices can have an impact.
Absolutely.
That's why it's so important to be informed and prepared.
Yeah, to understand the park's history,
Right.
its unique features,
Mhm.
the challenges we might encounter.
Exactly. And that allows us to approach our visit with responsibility
I like that.
and appreciation.
So we've talked about the challenges of the Devil's Kettle hike,
Yeah.
the tranquility of the campground, even dipped our toes into the fascinating history of this park.
Right.
But we haven't really explored the natural wonders beyond those waterfalls.
No.
What about the flora and fauna? What makes this park so special in terms of biodiversity?
Well, one of the things that makes this park so remarkable
Yeah.
is the variety of habitats you find within a relatively small area.
Oh, okay.
And remember those changes in elevation we talked about?
Yeah.
They create these microclimates
Okay.
that support a wide range of plant and animal life.
So it's not just one big uniform forest.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so can you break down for me what kind of trees we're talking about?
Well, you've got your Laurentian mixed forest, which, as the name suggests, is a blend of coniferous and deciduous trees.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't botanists, can you explain that a bit?
Sure. So think towering white pines reaching for the sky. And then you've got stately maples with their broad leaves that turn brilliant shades of red and orange in the fall.
Oh, wow.
And paper birches with their distinctive white bark.
Okay.
It's a beautiful mix.
I bet.
And it changes with the seasons.
I could already picture walking through those woods.
Yeah.
Surrounded by those colors.
It's quite a sight.
What about wildflowers? Any standout blooms we should look for?
Well, the sources mention a variety of wildflowers, adding splashes of color to the landscape.
Yeah.
But they didn't go into specifics. But I'm sure depending on the time of year, you'd find a variety of blooms.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask about the wildlife.
Okay.
We've talked about those black bears.
Right.
But what other creatures might we encounter in Judge C.R. Magney State Park?
Well, white-tailed deer are pretty common.
Okay.
And you might even spot a moose if you're lucky.
Oh, wow.
The sources also mentioned a fun fact.
Okay.
The park is home to an unusual number of ravens.
Ravens. That's not something you hear about every day.
Nope.
What's so special about these ravens?
Well, ravens are known for their intelligence.
Okay.
And their kind of eerie calls.
Yeah.
So imagine hiking through this quiet forest, and suddenly you hear this croaking of ravens echoing through the trees.
Oh, wow.
It adds a certain mystique to the atmosphere.
I can almost hear now. It sounds both beautiful and a bit spooky.
Yeah, a bit of both.
Okay, so we've got towering forests, colorful wildflowers, the possibility of seeing a deer or a moose, and the calls of ravens adding to the ambiance.
It's quite a place.
Is there anything else that makes this park's ecosystem unique?
Well, we've talked about the Brule River as a backdrop for those waterfalls,
right?
But it's also a vital habitat for fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, rainbow trout and salmon make their spawning runs here.
Wow. So it's a paradise for fishing enthusiasts, too.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget those thrill seekers who want to tackle the rapids.
That's right. Certain sections of the Brule River offer opportunities for whitewater kayaking.
Oh.
But it's not for beginners. You need to be experienced and well-equipped to navigate those rapids.
So it sounds like this park really does have something to offer everyone.
It does.
From casual hikers and nature lovers to serious anglers and adrenaline junkies.
Yeah, it's amazing how much diversity is packed into this one place.
I think it all comes back to that sense of discovery and exploration.
Yeah.
Judge C.R. Magney State Park is a place where you can challenge yourself.
Right.
Reconnect with nature.
Absolutely.
And maybe even learn something new about yourself along the way.
That's the beauty of it.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this exploration of Judge C.R. Magney State Park.
We have.
We talked about the challenges of those trails, the peace and quiet of the campground, the fascinating history that's interwoven with the natural beauty.
Yeah.
And that incredible diversity of the ecosystem.
There's a lot to take in.
There is. But before we move on to our final thoughts,
okay,
I want to pause and let our listeners really take it all in.
Good idea.
What are your key takeaways so far?
Well, what strikes me is the park's ability to offer a true sense of escape, the limited cell service,
right?
The emphasis on peace and quiet,
yeah,
the stunning natural beauty.
Absolutely.
It all combines to create an environment where you can truly disconnect.
Disconnect from the outside world and reconnect with yourself.
Exactly.
Get a chance to slow down, breathe deeply.
And appreciate those simple wonders that often get overlooked.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But it's also a place that demands respect and preparation.
It is.
We've talked about being aware of trail closures,
right,
the need for proper footwear, and the need to be mindful of our impact.
Absolutely.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Between embracing the wildness of this place,
right,
and recognizing our responsibility to protect it.
Well said.
Now, in our final segment, we'll shift gears and offer some practical tips for planning a visit to Judge C.R. Magney State Park. We'll cover everything from reservations and permits to packing essentials and respecting park guidelines.
Perfect.
Stay with us, folks.
We'll be right back.
We're back for the final part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
Into Judge C.R. Magney State Park.
All right, are you ready to plan your visit?
Let's do it.
Okay, so first things first, reservations.
Especially if we're planning to camp overnight.
Yes, definitely.
Remember, the campground only has 27 sites.
Right.
And they fill up quickly.
They do, especially during those peak seasons.
So book in advance.
Absolutely, don't wait till the last minute.
Got it. Hop online, Reserve your spot under the Minnesota Stars.
Perfect.
What about permits?
Okay, so for day use, you'll need a standard Minnesota State Parks vehicle permit.
Okay.
You can buy that online or get it when you arrive.
Okay, easy enough.
Now, if you're planning to fish,
Yeah.
you'll also need a Minnesota fishing license and a trout stamp.
Makes sense.
You can get those online too, or from different vendors in the state. So yeah, make sure you have those permits sorted out.
Okay, permits checked.
Now let's talk packing.
The fun part.
Right. What are your must-haves for a trip to Judge C.R. Magney?
Besides the sense of adventure, of course.
Well, considering all those stairs and the chance of icy patches we talked about,
Yeah.
sturdy hiking boots are a must.
Okay.
Good ankle support, durable soles that can handle those rocky trails.
Can probably come in handy if we encounter any unexpected snow or ice.
Exactly. You never know with the weather near Lake Superior.
Right.
Layering your clothing is always a good idea, too.
So we can adjust to the fluctuating temperatures.
Yeah, a fleece, a waterproof jacket, maybe a hat and gloves just in case.
Makes sense.
Oh, and don't forget a first aid kit.
Always a good idea.
You never know when a blister or a minor scrape might happen.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the gear sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips for staying safe and respecting the park environment?
Absolutely. One thing that was emphasized in the sources is staying on marked trails. This helps protect the vegetation and prevents soil erosion.
Right, and keeps us safe, too.
Exactly, especially with those steep cliffs near the waterfalls.
Yeah, I'd much rather admire those from a safe distance.
It's also important to be bear aware.
Oh, right. You mentioned black bears inhabit the park.
They do. Sightings are rare, but it's best to be prepared.
So proper food storage is key.
Absolutely. Make sure you use those designated bear-proof containers at the campground.
So no snacks left out on the picnic table.
Definitely not. And when you're hiking, make some noise.
Okay.
Especially in dense areas, helps alert bears to your presence.
So they don't get startled.
Exactly.
A little common sense goes a long way.
It really does.
Okay. So any final words of wisdom before we send our listeners off on their adventure?
Well, I think we've covered the essentials.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to that idea of disconnecting.
Right.
Remember, limited cell service.
Yeah, it's like a built-in digital detox.
Exactly. So put away your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Resist that urge to document everything for social media. Just be present in this incredible place.
It's a chance to connect with nature.
Right.
Connect with ourselves and just be.
A powerful idea.
It really is.
It reminds us that sometimes the greatest adventures are the ones that take us off the grid.
Into the heart of the wild.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into Judge C.R. Magney State Park.
I hope we've inspired you to visit.
We've given you the knowledge, the inspiration, and some practical advice
Right.
to make your visit a success.
So now it's your turn.
To experience the magic of this place.
Soak in those views, listen to the waterfalls, and be captivated by the mysteries.
And the beauty of this park.
It's a truly remarkable place.
Happy trails, everyone.
And until next time,
Keep exploring.
keep learning.
And keep those questions coming.